All right, let's see how the internet does today. I'm not too sure how we're looking. So we'll wait for a few people to get in. Today we're just going to be doing a Q&A because it's early. I'm sorry for the inconsistency stream off, but yeah, I couldn't think of anything that I specifically wanted to talk about this week. So yeah, let's see if the internet's working. Could be a bit dodgy today. It should be all good. Just wait for a few people to come in. Yeah, so it's looking all right on my speed test. Oh, my goodness, what's happening with the internet? Yeah, I might just do this. Give me 1 second, everyone. Sorry. Just I'll just do this. I'm gonna switch over. So you're gonna lose for a second. Oh, this isn't gonna work. All right, this should be a little bit better. All right. Okay, so we've got a few people in it looks like. Lazarus, Glenn. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, so right, it's been about a minute. Sorry for wasting everyone's time. Today we are going to be doing a Q&A. I just said before, yeah, I had to put the stream a little bit early because I've got to do some tank maintenance. I've got to pack some orders up and all that kind of stuff. So it's just easier for me to do it this morning. And I couldn't think of anything that I specifically wanted to talk about this week. So I'm just doing a Q&A. We're just going to chat about whatever happens, whatever people say in the chat, and we'll just see what everyone says because yeah, I had a pretty bland week. I finished up uni this week, which is good. So that means I get to spend more time on fish. I've been working on I don't know. I can't really disclose too much, but I've been working on I don't really know how to explain it. I hate hiding stuff from you guys because I want to be able to do everything. It would just be a huge spoiler if something didn't go to plan and then I talked about it and then it turned out being super embarrassing. So the second that I know something's going ahead, I'll talk about it, but I'm trying to find a bit more space. So hopefully we can do a lot more breeding projects because I've been struggling with making too many things, and also this winter's been pretty cold, and it's not been like crazy cold, but cold weather is not good for baby fish. So yeah, awesome. So who's in? Your neons keep dying, please help. Okay, so my first question is how are they dying? Because yeah, I don't really know what's happening, but yeah. So yeah, I guess I can probably start this off by talking about, I don't know what happened this week. So okay, I've been working on the Apistogramma breeding project, and that has been quite a little bit of an interesting project because I found it a lot easier doing, well, I didn't find it easier. I found it still a struggle doing the Neon Tetra series. That was a bit tricky. They're pretty hard fish to breed. And I didn't really struggle with the temperature too much. But this time, because it's winter now, overnight it's been getting pretty cold, 5 degrees Celsius, sometimes 8 degrees Celsius. And I haven't been realizing that some of the breeder boxes that I have been dropping temperatures significantly. And it's been super annoying because when they drop significantly, we lose fry. And then obviously it's sad to lose fry, but we also just lose a whole bunch of 10% of our yields every night. So I've been trying to figure out how to fix that. It's been pretty annoying, but in the first batch of Apistogramma eggs, I don't know what the deal was. I don't think they went cold overnight because they were in that incubator thing, and that wasn't dropping temperature. But I didn't have moving water over the eggs, so I think that kind of affected the hatch rate that I got, and I only got a couple of eggs that even hatched. And so that was a bit annoying. So I had to wait for another batch, and that's why that episode's been delayed, but it's still coming. We got a lot more fry. Obviously, if you follow my Instagram, you guys would have seen that. Yeah, I got about 80 something. I don't remember how many it was fry from my Apistogrammas. So that's the biggest yield I've got. I was averaging about 30 and then I switched to using rainwater in the aquarium, and it's just completely boosted the amount that the female's laying. So that could be a real quick tip for you guys. Is I know I talk about it a lot. I made a video today that's been uploaded today, talking about how to keep a stable aquarium, and I talked about how chasing pH is bad. For a lot of breeding projects, so for finicky fish, it is beneficial to be lowering pHs and hardness in the water, because you I find that like sometimes people talk about it when they breed discus, they get like calcite over the eggs and stuff like that, and then they get less hatching. And I've found it to be a fact that fish lay more eggs when the water's better parameters. So that's just a little observation I've made, that I'm getting way more eggs now than I was previously, and a lot more hatching. So it could be really beneficial for you guys. So, okay, so we'll talk about the, I think I'm a bit confused, but so someone's talking about their neons are dying and your pH is at 8.2. So I would just, if your pH is 8.2 and you haven't had much experience with like I'd have like an RO system or something like that, just don't even bother keeping neons, because it's not like, I would say the max pH that I would keep a neon at is like 7.8. I wouldn't keep them any higher than that, and you're just gonna be running into trouble, because these guys, you have to keep in mind, they come from the Amazon, where there's like no hardness in the water, and there's just so much peat and all that kind of stuff, where it's just super, super low. So like the pH is like sometimes around 6, can you probably even get down to 5. I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, I've never been to the Amazon, but I know for a fact that they don't come from super hard water. Like, so you're just gonna be chasing your tail, because it's gonna be super, super hard. So yeah, we've got mezzes in. Yeah, if you can find like a natural way to lower the pH, then I mean, you can do it, but you're just going to be constantly chasing your tail. Like I said before, it's just going to be of an annoying fish to try and keep. I just probably wouldn't even bother. I'd just be keeping Africans or something like that, African cichlids. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. Is it weird that my guppy only gave birth to one fry 2 days ago? No, it's not weird. So I've had a lot of people talk about this. So guppies, because they breed so easily, when they start to breed, they can be breeding from a really, really young age. And what that means is that we have super young guppies that aren't able to give birth to a huge amount of fry. And sometimes like they're a bit too young to actually even start to breed. And that's why you only get like one fry, because their bodies aren't ready for it yet. So that's completely normal. Sometimes as well, like people say they've only got one, but what actually happens is they've just eaten a bunch of them too, and they've only seen like, they've just eaten all the other 19. So yeah, that could be why. I'm just going to quickly grab I'm not sick. I just get a bit hay fever in the morning. Sorry, guys. All right. That should be a bit better, because I know it annoys a lot of people if I start sniffling. Someone just forgot to hit play thinking I was late. No, I'm never late. Oh, I was late a couple of weeks ago, a couple of minutes. So yeah, I'm trying to breed Cories, and I'm having more eggs die than hatch. So that too can be a bit of a weird thing. So I'm no expert on breeding Cories. I actually haven't bred them yet. And look, I would be breeding them. I just don't have the tank space at the moment. And I'm working towards getting more tank space. That's like a future thing I can't really talk about too much, but I'm not too sure why that could be happening. Obviously, some are just not getting fertile, or like some aren't getting fertilized, or you've just got like way too high of a pH or something like that. That's just, or way too hard of a water that's ruining the eggs. Can I try in the future to breed goldfish? I don't think that'll be anytime soon, probably, because I would like to, but like, I don't find the goldfish to be a fish that I'm interested in. I hope that doesn't disappoint people, but like, it wouldn't be worth me making videos if I didn't enjoy breeding a fish. And that's just like from like a standpoint of it's I want you guys to see how excited I am to do something. And if I was breeding goldfish and I didn't enjoy doing it, first of all, I'd be doing myself a disservice. I'd probably burn out. And then also, I think that a lot of people would be able to tell that I wasn't keen on doing it. So I would do it. I don't have a problem with goldfish. There's obviously beautiful ones, but a lot of them are really inbred. I find that like you need big tanks, and you can't make like if I breed a bunch, I'm not going to make a lot of money. I could just be breeding something else. And it's not like about the money, but it's just like if I've got a bunch of goldfish on my hands that I'm not going to be able to sell, then yeah. What am I all dressed up for? I'm barely dressed up. I just got this like jumper on because it's actually it's cold as, but I just got a t-shirt underneath this. So yeah. How are the plecos going? So my plecos are doing good. I noticed that the L134 leopard frogs are way more active than the L201s, and I don't know why that is. There's 9 L134s and there's 6 L201s. So maybe I'm just seeing them more often because there's less hiding spaces in that tank, or I don't know what it is. But I definitely am inclined to like the L134s a little bit more at the moment. They're a really cool looking fish. I really did like them. So yeah. Would I breed better fish? Yeah, we talk about this like every weekend. So I would breed better fish, but like I was saying, you need to have a really, really reliable way to sell all of your better fish, because otherwise you could make like 200 better fish if you get really good at breeding them, and then they all have to be individually tanked at some point, like because otherwise they're just going to attack and kill each other. And you've got to sell 200 individual fish instead of just making like a bunch of angelfish and being able to sell like 10 in one sale. So yeah. I've got a lot of questions really quick. When should we expect the next breeding video? So I think you're talking about the Apistogramma series, and that'll be, I'd say, by Wednesday next week. So I'm not too sure, like, as long as everything goes to plan, it should be out by next Wednesday. Like I was saying before, it's been a pretty annoying, well, I had something annoying happen where just like none of the eggs hatched pretty much. So I couldn't just upload the video saying, oh, hey guys, yeah, I got 3 fry, like it just wouldn't work. So I just, yeah, I had to wait to get another batch, and then I've hatched them. So kind of like disappoint you guys. I want you guys to be able to like get a reliable way to do something, and I wouldn't just upload it if it wasn't worth like uploading. So yeah, I'd say by Wednesday. I'm not too sure though. Oh no, we're unstable again. We shouldn't be unstable, but it's been super annoying, the internet. Let's give it 1 second. Why is it unstable? There we go. We're back, apparently. Are you going to make more place to do breeding? Are you going to make more pleco breeding series? So yeah, I probably will. Like that series was a bit scattered, and it also wasn't to like the quality that I wanted. So I've been really focusing on like pumping out really, really high quality breeding series at the moment, because I find them like they can be super satisfying to watch, because you see a whole entire like 4-week project in like a couple of episodes, and it is really cool to like be at the hand of making like, I don't know, more fish out of nothing. It's a bit weird to explain that, but I really am enjoying making them, and I want to make the best quality ones. So I will be like probably updating a lot of old ones. So like even like the Zebra Danio one was a bit like not that good in my opinion. Like it's okay to watch, but it's just not like to the quality that I wanted. Like I think that with the Neon Tetra ones, I think that I kind of did that to the quality that I wanted. I felt really good about making those videos, and I think a lot of people really liked watching them. But the yeah, like the Zebra Danio one wasn't that good in my opinion. What's a good cleanup crew for a guppy tank? So I don't know. I don't really like using the term cleanup crew because it's not like that straightforward. I don't really like putting the job of cleaning something up to another fish. But I guess what you're trying to talk about is someone that's going to, or like a fish that's going to eat food that falls to the bottom so that it doesn't completely rot, and something that's going to clean up algae, or like some algae. So there's not like a fish that's going to clean up every single type of algae. My favorite cleanup crew for a guppy tank would be a couple of cories along the bottom, because they're not going to eat your fry, and they're also going to like go through the sand on the bottom, or you need really fine gravel on the bottom, and they're going to eat like all the food, but they're also like, I forgot what I was trying to say. Like they're going to go along the bottom and they're going to reduce the amount of food that just sits down there and rots. But you don't really need them too much. The other one is going to be the bristlenose pleco, obviously, because they're going to eat a lot of the surface algae. I don't know what that's called, like the green dust kind of algae. I don't think it's even called that. Forgetting the name, but they'll eat that, and it avoids you having like a huge green wool tank. So yeah. But like, I'm trying not to let you off the hook with saying that you can have like a cleanup crew in an aquarium, because if I say that, then you'll probably not do like your tank maintenance and all that kind of stuff. So you can't just get off the hook with not cleaning an aquarium. You need to you need to like do your frequent water changes. There's no such thing as a cleaning fish, but I would definitely say that that having those fish in there would help with some of like the problems that can occur in an aquarium. Have you thought about getting killifish eggs and hatching them? Yeah, like I've thought about everything. I've thought about probably everything. So like some point I probably will. It's just, honestly, I don't know how far away a lot of things are. And like, I just try and, I don't know, I'm just focusing on doing the ones that I'm doing now. So yeah. When you make videos, what do you enjoy the most? This is a good question. Filming, editing, etc. I think actually, so it depends, because there's a few types of videos that I normally make. So the breeding videos are very hands-on, and that requires me to actually do something. So those are quite fun to make, because I actually make something when I do the video. But they're also hard to make, because it's hard. Like a lot of people don't think about like when they do a DIY project. So for instance, if you watch like someone, I don't know, build a fish tank stand, imagine just every time you had to do a step, you had to record it too. And then after that, you had to edit it. So it is a lot of work, and they are hard to make, but I enjoy making them. The other ones are all like the 7 tips ones and all that kind of stuff, where I sit behind the camera. Those ones are a lot easier to make, because I just talk to the camera and then I can edit it. It's less hands-on. The most hands-on part of that is recording like B-roll footage for in between that. I think the most enjoyable part for breeding series is just doing the breeding. I mean, editing can sometimes be fun, especially that's like why I try and do some of those cool intros and stuff like that, because when you do that, it kind of like keeps you involved in it, and you make something really, really cool. But I think the most fun part for the 7 tips series is probably, I don't know, sometimes it's like a bit weird. I sometimes enjoy making like thumbnails and stuff like that. I think sometimes like researching is cool too. Like I'd have to do a lot of research for those videos, so that I don't say something that like, or accidentally say something that's not true or something like that. So I think that, yeah, I'd say probably, yeah, I don't know, probably researching them for the tips ones and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. All right. So I have a male betta in a 10-gallon tank. It picked on the smaller cories, but I have an algae problem, so I want to get some amino shrimp. Is it safe? I think that like it should be okay, because the amino shrimp are normally a bit big, and they can't be fit into like a betta's mouth. So you could, but like I think that maybe you could also try and figure out some ways to, I'd say like, to mitigate algae without having to get like something that's going to eat it. So like I don't know. It's hard. I think that because in all my aquariums I have the bristlenose plecos, so I don't really deal with some types of algae that all you guys would be dealing with if you didn't have bristlenose. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't see how that wouldn't work, but yeah, maybe find a way to get less algae. It's not that simple. So I hope that could kind of help a bit, but I know that's not a great answer. But yeah, you could do that theoretically. When will I upgrade the fish room? So yeah, that's the thing at the moment. So hopefully very, very soon. It depends on a lot of stuff. It depends on where I can put a lot of stuff. It just depends on a lot of stuff. Hopefully in the next couple of I don't know, I'd say within the next couple of months, hopefully it'll be happening, because I'm getting way too many fish. I've got way too much product that I want to make, not product, fish that I want to make and breed and all that kind of stuff. So it's I'd say it's underway. But yeah, what editing software do I use is another question. So yeah, I use Final Cut Pro. You can use iMovie. I used iMovie at the start, but Final Cut Pro is just so and so I don't want to get in trouble for this, but you can. So it costs $500, but you can actually get free trials on it if you just put in a new email every time. So I think if a trial lasts for 30 days, which is quite a long time, and you just keep doing that every time and just reinstalling it, and you save $500 for, it takes 10 minutes to download it. So yeah, it's that's what I'd recommend to do. So yeah. Any tips on how to get good quality groups of guppies to breed? Do I need to worry about them being siblings? So yeah, that's something that's a big problem with the guppies, is the fact that so many of them are inbred, and it makes the genes really weak, and they come out with bent spines and stuff like that. So yeah, you do have to kind of worry about, if you get guppies from a pet store and you put them in a tank, your first couple of generations will be okay, but if you left them in there for ages, it just kind of gets to the point where it's a bit nuts. So I say this in a lot of the guppy tip videos, is I always have been adding, when I find a guppy strain, I first of all try and find it from a breeder. But if I can't, if I found it at a pet store, I'd go to another pet store and get the same kind of strain and then mix them together. So that way you get, hopefully they've come from different areas and they're not the same bloodlines. And then you mix them and you make a really, really strong guppy. And so the dog's barking across the road. That's what I do. It's definitely important to, every 6 months or so, just add the same kind of strain of guppy to your tank, because it's going to add a bit of different genes and variations to those gene lines, and hopefully keep the same kind of appearance. But it's a big deal because they're busy, because everyone's breeding guppies really if they've got them. So we have so much inbreeding, and it's just why I prefer the endless, is because they're not as many people keep them, and that way there's not as much inbreeding, and there's all those kind of problems that are associated with guppies. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but I just find them to be so problematic. There's a lot of illnesses that they're really prone to and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Have you ever thought about breeding discus? Yeah. Yes, I have. That's hopefully something I want to do when I upgrade all my fish tanks and get some new space, because discus are cool as. I've been doing a lot of research on discus too, because I don't want to spend heaps of money on them and stuff it up. Ooh. There was a good question I saw before, but I forgot where it was. Do you ever go collecting for plants in your local area if it's legal? No, I don't really bother to do that. It's I would do it, but I don't think there's a lot of there's not that much cool stuff in my area. I'm not close to any lakes with tons of stuff in it that I could personally keep. Because I like to keep a lot of the Peruvian fish and all that kind of stuff. So No, I don't do that. That's actually how I got started though. I did go to a creek and pick up some like mosquito fish, and then that's how I got started keeping fish. Because then I put them in like a tank, and then I was like, yeah, I really I really want to keep actual fish, and that's how it kind of all started. But I don't do that, no. What do you recommend to breed in a 10-gallon tank? So that's another tricky question, because I don't really know what you like to breed, or like what fish you like. Because if I told you a fish that I would recommend and you didn't like it, then you're just going to burn out and have problems. But like, it depends what you want. Like if you're trying to breed something for profit, probably I don't know. I'd say like some kind of guppy, like a strain of guppy, but you can do a little bit of stuff. You could do cherry shrimp. You could do I don't know. It's a pretty open-ended question. I don't know. Tell me what you want to, what you're trying to do and like breed for, and then I'll try and give you an answer. But yeah. Okay, this is actually, I like this question. So it's valuable for everyone that's watching today. So how much time do I spend per day on average on my tanks? So I've got 8 tanks, and this is going to be, this will be good for a lot of you people who like are looking to get more tanks, because it'll give you a bit of an indication on how much time it takes. So it could take a lot longer if I wasn't, I don't know, if I didn't have like the ways that I clean them and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to try and go on more of a weekly basis as well, because it's hard to quantify like all the maintenance and stuff like that on a daily basis. I'd say daily changing brine shrimp hatcheries and doing the feeding and stuff wouldn't take more than 20 minutes. Some days it can take a bit more, because if I want to take out like a breeding mop or something like that and put into another tank, or like have to like do all the stupid egg transfers, like if you watch my episode in that. So that stuff can take a long time, but I'd say on average, it definitely wouldn't be more than 30 minutes a day. And that's just for feeding and changing out brine shrimp water. Now, cleaning the tanks takes me 2 hours. So there's 8 tanks. It could be way quicker if it was on auto water changes. It'd take me like 10 minutes to do it then. But the way I do it is I empty with a siphon, and then I fill them up with the hose from the yard, and I have to dechlorinate all the water in the tanks individually, which can be quite risky, because if you forget, you lose fish because there's chloramine in my water. So I have to always be careful with that. But so I'd say I do that twice a week, which is 4 hours if it takes 2 hours each time, plus 30 minutes times 7, which is 3.5 hours. So we're looking at 7.5 hours a week to keep 8 tanks and breed fish. So some weeks it'll be like 15 hours if if something catastrophic happens, or if there's a lot of breeding happening and eggs that need to be moved around, stuff like that. But I'd say the number I just gave, which is, 7.5 hours, I'd say, a week. So that'll hopefully that gives some people here an indication of how long it takes. It's weird, because when you add more tanks to like your collection, there's like a kind of point where like if I have 2 tanks, it's going to take the same amount of time as 1 tank. But if I had 100 tanks, it's not going to take the same amount of time as 2 tanks. So it's like a bit weird, but you don't have to spend a crazy amount of time. And hopefully when I do end up upgrading like all the fish tank space, I'll get a ton more tanks. But I'm planning on reducing the amount of time that I spend cleaning, so that I can enjoy more of the fish, if that makes sense. But hopefully that's a good answer. Hopefully that gives you some kind of indication of how long it takes. Will I ever do a monster tank? Probably not for a long time. How many fish should I put in a 15-gallon column tank? I don't know what that means. I don't know. It's not an easy question, because like some fish are big, some fish are small. I'd say like I can't really give you a specific answer. I don't know. Like in a 15-gallon tank, I'd put like 30 guppies or something. I don't know. That could be an answer, but I'm trying not to tell you an answer for the sake of getting it wrong. Do you think you'll ever sell the plecos on your website? So yeah, I will sell them at some point. They're just up there. Like, I haven't put them up there with the intention. See, like, plecos are a weird fish because I'm happy to leave as many as I want down in the bottom of my tanks because they just do me a service. So I'm not in a desperate need to sell them. I was thinking, like, if I did need to sell a ton, I would just do like $1 a pleco sale or something, because I'd probably barely break even. But if I needed to offload them, and then it'd be good for you guys to pick up some for real cheap. And I don't know. But if I needed to sell them, plecos are a weird fish because fish stores will take them only if they're big. So you just got to spend a lot of time growing them out, and then you can sell them. So I could be selling them all to a fish store, but I've just got to wait until they're a bit bigger. But I will sell them. Like, they're not just going to sit there. It's weird too, like, because there's kind of a weird demand for them. People normally pick up like one, because when they begin to set up a tank, they get one as like a cleaner fish. So they're a bit like betters, but you can keep them all together. How should I go about trying to sell fish? So like, that's a tricky question to answer too, because it's like everyone's situation is different. So it depends. Like, if you're trying to sell, you can sell them to a local fish store. You can sell them on Craigslist, and you can sell them on, like, if you're in the States, you can sell them on like Aquabid, which is really useful. I'd say, like, try and establish a relationship with a local fish store, like an actual business relationship, not just like I'm trying to make money off of you relationship, and try and get both of you to make money, and try and establish that relationship with them. And that's the best way to consistently make money off fish and sell fish. So that's but yeah, you can do Gumtree too, but it takes a bit longer. And like Gumtree, I mean like Craigslist or whatever. First of all, you have to deal with people coming, like, you have to individually sell them all, like, so you have to deal with if there's weirdos trying to come. So you have to deal with that. But the other thing is too, you can't just sell like 50 like in one go. Like, yeah, you'll make a little bit more money per fish, but it's going to take way longer. You can just clear out a whole tank by selling it to a local fish store or something like that. So that's how I'd go about it. But some people don't even have local fish stores near them, which makes it a completely different ball game. So for those people, I feel bad for you. Maybe just don't try and breed a lot of stuff, and just breed more like rare stuff and sell it online. Because if you breed your like bread and butter fish, there's no one that's going to really want to buy them online, and you're going to run into problems. So yeah. Can I put 50 angelfish in a 1 gallon tank? Got me. I'm new to fish keeping. Just fill my tank and add a beneficial bacteria enhancer. My water is cloudy and brownish, but I also have wood in it. Haven't bought fish yet. Any advice? Yeah, so that sounds like, first of all, you got your tannins coming out of the driftwood, which are making it brown, and the cloudiness is just from the bacteria because it's blooming. I wouldn't add fish until... See, okay, so the problem is you're going to have there is you don't have any ammonia being produced, so those beneficial bacteria are just going to start to die off, pretty much. Like, it sounds like bad, but you need to have like ammonia being produced to actually cycle a tank, because if you just let a tank cycle, it's not it's not comparable to when it's going to have fish in it. So you're still going to have ammonia spikes if there's none of the bacteria in there that are going to do the role of taking out the ammonias and all that kind of stuff that are really, really bad. So what I recommend to do is, if you're trying to cycle it, add like a piece of like prawn or like a shrimp, like just like the kind of like raw from you buy from like your grocery store, and therefore a week and a half. And what that's going to do is it's going to start to rot. It's obviously a little bit gross, but leave the tank running. It'll produce a bit of ammonia, and then it'll keep those bacteria from dying. And then I'd add fish. But I'd take out obviously the prawn before you add the fish, because that's gross. But also, before you add fish, test the water, because otherwise you could find out that like there's just a ton of ammonia in there from the shrimp decomposing. So I don't know, hopefully that could help you out. But like, yeah, it's hard because a lot of people say like, oh yeah, just leave it for a couple of weeks, and it doesn't really work like that. See, like, sorry about that. That's a bit gross. But see, for me, it's a bit different because like I have tons of tanks. So I always have like a cycled filter that I can use. So when the fish are producing ammonia and it's going to, oh no, we got another disconnection. Just wait up for a second. Sorry. Okay. So what's going to happen, I'll just start again. What's going to happen is when I add the fish, they're going to start producing waste, and it's going to cycle the tank straight away. So I hopefully that could help you out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really like, I don't feel like my brain's working 100% yet. I need more coffee or something like that. But yeah. But like as well, if you want to get rid of the tannin too, because that's another question you had, I'd take out if you boil the driftwood, it'll take out a lot of tannin at the start. But tannin's really good too. It depends what kind of fish you're trying to keep, obviously. But if you've got like from the Amazon, then it's going to be really, really beneficial because they just love having the tannin. And I personally like having a lot of tannin in my water. It's really good. But hope that could help you out because that can be really, really confusing, especially when you set up a new tank. I always try and like make all my advice as like easy to understand as possible because I've had a heap of people in like comments lately saying that they've been looking into getting back into fish, like they haven't kept fish for a long time. And I've noticed too that I know that for a fact, if I stopped keeping fish for even a couple of months, I'd start to forget principles that you use every day to keep fish. So my goal is to always make like the most concise and easy information as possible because I don't want people to be scared of keeping fish. That's pretty much it. I don't want people to be scared of it. It's really not hard. My piece of advice is for those people who are just starting out again, just like start small and start easy so that like that way you don't get discouraged by a huge problem that you have or something like that that's going to cost you a lot of money and fish. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I try and do. I try and make it really, really easy. So yeah. Can I have a big fish that I can catch with a fishing rod? I don't really know what that means. Are you ever going to try rams? I've got a group of electric blue rams. I didn't realize how bright the color would be. Yeah, I'm definitely. That's in the plans for a future project. So they are an awesome fish because people when they come to a local fish store, really all they want is cheap fish that look good. And if you can supply rams to a store for, I mean, don't undercut yourself completely, but if you can supply them to a store for cheap, they'll always sell that just because of the way they look. So they're a really good fish to breed for profit. But they're definitely in there. I want to do them, and I want to do like German blue rams, and I also want to do the what are they called? Maybe like the gold ones. I think gold rams, aren't they called? I don't know. But they're a really awesome fish to breed, and like they're very similar, I mean, in breeding styles to the Apistogramma, so I think that I can nail it. For a gupping breeding project, what would you do if you end up with fry that don't have the colors you want? I've heard of some people feeding them to the turtles. What do you think about this? So if you're trying to breed for like a strain, that's pretty blue star endlers. And I've been trying to get, okay, we're still, I don't know why it keeps cutting out. One sec. Let's just give it a second. I'm so sorry because I don't want to be talking to a wall. Okay, I'm back. So I've been trying to breed these guppies and trying to get like heaps of blue and like a lyre tail on them. And for the fish that I have that I don't want, I don't like cull them or kill them or anything like that. What I do is I just take them either to my local fish store and sell them for like nothing, like close to nothing, or I just give them to the local fish store. As long as it's not bent spines and stuff like that, they'll always take them because they can just sell them. And that's really good for a business relationship if you've got other product, because I mean, you're just giving them free strain that you're working on. And it's good for the fish because they get to go to it. I don't know why I keep cutting out. This is super annoying. I don't know what the deal is. Here, just give it a second. I'm super, super sorry, guys. Okay, so what I was saying is it's super beneficial for you because, I mean, it's just good for the relationship. So that's what I recommend doing. If you've got like bent spines and stuff, maybe start feeding them to the turtles, because it is unfortunate that happens, but it's not doing anyone really any benefit. Like if you keep breeding them, because I mean, it's just going to like stuff up future generations. So that's my opinion. Do I have white cloud minnows? What about night rams? Those are so cool. I'm actually going to do a quick Google search while you guys are on here if there's actually any dark night rams in Australia, because I feel like we're always like kind of like the last to get a species. So yeah, I'm just gonna have a look. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I can see instantly that there's some pre-orders and stuff like that. They're a cool fish, but I find that like heaps of the fish that Americans get and Europeans get, we're always the last to get them. I don't know if it's just because we've got like really stern biosecurity laws and stuff like that, but we're always like the last to get a fish. So yeah, like I said, they'll all be on pre-order and they'll be like $200 a piece. So welcome to Australia. You get bad internet, so you also get really expensive fish. Like we were talking about this last weekend, but like over here, pea puffers cost like $200 a piece, and in the States they're like a couple of bucks. So you can see straight away like how annoying we are, like how annoying it is over here. That's just how it is. So I can't do anything about it, but yeah. What else we got going on here? Have you or anyone you known tried to breed a first, like a species never bred in an aquarium before? How would you start? I haven't done that. That's like a goal for me as a breeder. I want to be able to take like maybe some kind of corridori and do that. I know that I don't know any of these people, but Eric Bodrock, like pioneering, but like I don't know anyone that's done that. So that is really, really cool. But I think because I was saying before, like we're the last to get a species, I'd be like buying fish that have already been bred. So I'll move my laptop to fix the Wi-Fi. I don't know, maybe it could. I bought a pair of Apistogramma agassizii and one of them ended up having dropsy. Any thoughts on how to treat it? So that's super unfortunate. So dropsy is like a huge issue. Normally that comes from bloating and also just stress and bad water. So first of all, try and keep your tank stable. Try and I mean, I've made a video where you can watch it. It released today. Try and use some of those principles to make your tank as feed your fish. Either like don't feed a crazy amount of bloodworms or something like that and bloat them, because that can cause the problem too. But man, that's like a really hard issue to treat. Normally it's kind of a death sentence. So I don't really know how to help you with that. That is unfortunate, but yeah. Do you have any advice for turtle care? No, because I'm not a turtle channel. In Florida, a German blue ram costs about $20 per fish. That is crazy. So here it costs about, I'd say 15. I could be completely off, but I think they're about $15 a piece here. So sometimes I've seen them even at 10. So, and that's Australian. So yeah. How deep is your substrate in a 55? Mine's about 5 inches, should be good, right? That's really deep. That's going to be really good for your for your bed back. Mine's only like probably an inch deep. I should have it way deeper, but I just didn't want to spend extra money on buying more substrate. So yeah, but a deep substrate is very beneficial in my opinion. I've got a very deep substrate in my Apistogramma tank, and it's been so beneficial for the tank. It's just housing so many of those beneficial bacteria in there that are making my job in caring for the tank really easy. Yeah, so we've got another. So Jason's talking about. So I don't know how many of you people here will know about zebra plecos. Hopefully, a lot of you guys who are diehard aquarium fans. They're a bucket list fish for me, and I've been hunting them down for a bit. So if anyone here in Australia has them, send me a message because I'll pay you premium. But I've been looking for them. Here they cost about $650 to $500 or even more than that per fish. But in the States, they're about $100 an inch. And I think that that's because, first of all, you can't bring them in here. So either the ones that are in here have been either smuggled in or they've been bred here. So that makes them a lot more expensive. But in America, like they're still on the ban list, but like they come from the same continent. So like it was stopping someone from just driving down, getting them and bringing them back up. It's the same kind of like, it's just so much easier for getting them. So that's the price difference. There's also probably a lot more because there's like 300 million Americans or more, like 350, and there's only 25 million Australians. So we're talking about a huge difference in the amount of people and a difference in demand. So there's like, that brings the price down significantly in the States. How do you get rid of hair algae? You just gotta take it out yourself. Get like a toothbrush and just twist around in there, like an old one. Don't get your one you're gonna brush your teeth with that night. But get a toothbrush, twist it in there. Catch. I've got algae in my rainbow fish tank, so that's the best way to deal with it. Just remove it physically. Yeah, so I've heard of zebra plecos going for $2,500 each as an adult in Australia. So that is true. Normally when you buy them, they're not sexable, but if you know the sex and you've got like a male or a female, people will pay you so much because a lot of people will buy like 6 of them, and sometimes they'll just end up with like either males and females, but they're not fertile or something like that, and they just want to get a male, so they'll pay you a lot to get a breeding male. And that's why it becomes so like expensive if you know that. What's something new, either a new hack or surprising problem you've encountered in fish keeping breeding lately? So I don't have any hacks. What I've run into is those breeder boxes that I've been using getting cold overnight, and that's because there's not enough hot water pumping into them to meet an equilibrium with the cold air around the box. So I've been losing fry to that. And I think that like my solution, first of all, is I'm waiting until I get further notice on moving into something else, like a new place. So I'm kind of waiting to just do a lot of breeding projects until then, when I can actually heat a room instead of having to put individual heaters everywhere. So I've been trying to hatch eggs when I do have eggs, I try to hatch them now in those incubators that you saw in the first episode of the Apistogramma series. I'm trying to do that. But that's been a problem. So I don't really have any hacks at the moment. One hack that I have, I guess, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a hack to give you. One of my observations. Hacks, that's just one problem that I've been dealing with. So that's just me being brutally honest. It's been pretty hard to breed fish in this winter. I had a lot more success in the summer, but now it's a bit trickier. I can get zebra danios for $99, and I feel that's a great deal. How much are they for you? Yeah, so like wholesale, they're about 99 cents here, but I think that they're about $4 here, something like that. I've got a ton of questions. I've never seen zebra plecos where I live. Yeah, that's not like completely uncommon. They're very hard to come by. Like I said, I saw them in my local fish store. I mean, I wish I bought them. I don't know why I didn't. They were like cheap too. And they were the first time they'd seen them in 23 years. So that's how rare they are. But just got spammed with a bunch of questions. Budweiser or Bud Light. we don't have either of those. Do you think blackout days help with algae blooms? Yeah, because what you're doing is you're cutting out what's feeding the algae, and that does help. That does help a lot. But also then you mess with the plants and sometimes the fish. So yeah. Okay, this might be interesting. So hang along for this question, because someone's saying here. Sorry, I'm just getting a bit over myself. Rainbow fish are all the rage, like where they're from. So no, here all rainbow fish. Here, rainbow fish are all the rage. Pairs, trios, or 5-packs are routinely sold for $100. We can't get so easily. So that's really interesting too, because rainbow fish are like one of the easiest fish, or one of the easiest egg scatterers to breed, in my opinion. So I'm surprised. If I was you, I'd pay $100. I'd buy a bunch and breed them the next day, because you can literally breed them super easy. You just need a spawning mop, feed them up, and they'll just spawn in the mop. It's literally as simple as that. So I'd be trying to take advantage of that. Maybe what's affecting that is, first of all, if you're in the States, they come from my region where they're going to be cheaper because we can just collect them. But so they do have to either come from a breeder or they have to be brought over there, which would make it more expensive now when you can't bring a lot over there because of COVID. But also they take a very long time to get to adult size. I don't know why it is. They just take a very long time to grow up. So yeah. But I wish that was the case here, because I'd be doing a lot better. I'd be making a lot more money off of fish. Do you have any advice for beginner cichlids, and which ones are easier to care for? So, yeah, we're unstable again. Sorry, guys. So I'm going to say Crebensis. Crebensis is probably like the best one. If you breed too many of them, you're not going to be able to sell them. So that could be a problem. But they're a cool dwarf cichlid. You'll get the whole dwarf cichlid like experience that you'd have with like Apistogrammas and stuff like that, without having to take a huge financial leap. But I've said this before, I don't have a problem with people just trying to do a fish that they would enjoy more. Like, don't burn yourself out on a fish you don't like to keep just because you're afraid to keep the fish you want to keep. Just keep the fish you want to keep. Like, it's worth like spending the extra little bit of money just to enjoy keeping your fish a bit more. How long did it take you to grow your prairiecox to 3 centimeters? I have 200 fry that whoa, 200 fry. Wow. That's a lot. That are about 2 months old and barely grew. So it took me, they're about 6 months old now and they're reaching adult size. Maybe, yeah, I think they're about 7 or 8 months maybe. So that's adults. But what could be happening there is, because you've got so many, if you're not doing like 8 or like the ton of feedings every day, like little mini feedings, they're not going to grow as quick, and the biggest ones are going to eat all the food and the smallest ones are going to stay small. So try and I guess set up like maybe an automatic feeder on that tank and just do little bits of feeding every day to try and get them to grow a bit bigger. That could help. But they do take a very long time to get to adult size. And if there's going to be that many in a tank, you're going to have really, really slow growth. So it does take a very long time. Just be patient. You're doing a really good job, because I'm not getting 200 fry. There's something on my desk. I don't know why we keep going unstable. I'm just going to, maybe that'll fix it up. I don't know what's happening here. Let's do this. That could be a bit better. So, yeah. Sorry about all the internet, guys. It's been really, really bad lately. But, yeah, just be patient. They'll grow. Betta macrostoma, mouth brooding betta pair. Bettas are 650 a pair. Is that right? I haven't even looked into them. I'm gonna have a look at them too. So that's interesting, because like I always find it super. This is just me geeking out, but I find it super interesting. Anyway, I'm just trying to find a price here in Australia. Wow, that much. Wow. That is crazy. Gee whiz. Okay, yeah, so like $600. Wow. We are disconnecting again. My goodness. So I find it super interesting on the economics of certain fish. So like, for instance, I don't mean it like in a nerdy way. I mean like how a fish here can cost $500, but over in the States it can cost $3. Just completely blows my mind. And I don't know, like the only thing that's affecting that price, it really isn't distance anymore, because it's super easy to get something within 24 hours to Australia. Like if we wanted to freight a bunch of stuff. So what's affecting it is either taking them out of the wild and then being really hard to breed, or just you're not allowed to bring them into a country. Cashing in so much money on certain fish where they like can fill a demand for a fish that costs $500 because it's just super inflated because of these limits. So I find that like massively like interesting. If you guys want to start listing fish that in Australia cost that much money, I'd be super interested to have a look and just start talking about them in the stream, because I find that maybe I can do like a whole stream on it, but like I find it so fascinating that like over here, little pea puffer costs $250 to $300, and it costs $3 in the States. That just completely. I know Florida is known for exotic and big fish. I don't know if you know anything about big fish, but a pet store sells baby knives for $15. Seems like a pretty good deal. And also juvie arowana are $50. Yeah. So like here they cost like a couple grand. Well, so that is like a good deal over there. But tips for using infusoria for feeding. I'm paranoid that water is dirty in infusoria jar. So like infusoria, I don't like using them that much. They are a good food. They're free. But infusorias are very unreliable because a culture can sometimes take a couple of weeks, but also, sorry if you can hear dog barking. Sometimes an infusoria kit can take a week. Sometimes an infusoria kit can take like 2 weeks or like a month to mature. So it's very unreliable. It is free, but they smell. So I think that maybe a better thing to use would be like, I'm trying to look into getting some like dry food, so like golden pearls or something like that, just to get them up to a stage where they can start to eat brine shrimp and microworms and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, if it's warmer, it'll mature quicker. And oh man, we've got what is happening? Okay, sorry about the disconnecting consistently. It's very annoying for me too. So what I was saying was keep it warm, it'll mature quicker. Also boil the vegetables. Don't put raw in and like try and fill it up with hot water. Boil them till like they're so soft. Like pick them up with a fork and you want it to almost fall through the fork. That's how soft you want it to be, because then it's going to go and mature so quick. So that's my piece of advice for that. Like just be patient too. If you set one up, they can take a very long time to do. How does your family feel about having 8 tanks in the house? I'll be honest, they don't feel that good. So that's why I'm trying to get some of them out, because I had originally like 4 tanks and I just like expanding, but I can't. So yeah, it's like I'm not like having a hard time, but yeah, it is important to like not, because like I can understand people would also have troubles with like their spouse not wanting them to have a certain amount of tanks. So compromise is important. I think that like limiting the amount of space in a house that it's taking is important. You don't want to just have like a tank in this room and that room. You want to keep it condensed and just like try and like convince someone to let you occupy a room. So then you can kind of just fill that room up, and then it's not really like going to affect someone else too much, if that makes sense. I think that like the problem comes if you want to put a tank like all around, then you're going to have different kinds of issues. But I mean, hopefully that helps you. I'm not like a family counselor, but maybe we could do like about convincing your parents to let you get a tank, or like convincing your wife. I mean, I'm not probably the person to like convince your wife or your husband to let you get a tank, but yeah. Oh, thanks, Ethan, for the dono. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. How do you grow your bristlenose plecos, and what is your feeding schedule to make them grow? So I'll give you a really detailed answer. So the first thing a varied diet. These guys eat tons, like they eat a crazy amount of food. So you want to feed, I feed mine green beans and algae wafers, and an occasionally I feed them like this frozen kind of community feast thing that you can feed, and that's just to get a bit of protein into them. So the key for growing them quick is they're very slow growing, kind of. They are very, very slow growing fish. You need to feed them consistently, and you need to do a ton of water changes because they make a ton of waste, like an insane amount of waste. So feed and heat, like don't overfeed, but like regularly, and feed, I'd say like 3 cans, like 3 times a week feed green beans or something like that, or like zucchini. And then 2 times a week feed the algae wafers. And then I'd say once a week do the what's it called? The frozen food, the community feast kind of thing, just like a frozen like meat veggie mix that falls to the bottom. And you can also do like a rapashi food or something like that. That could be really good. But like try and make it so every time they eat, it's a different meal. And then that's going to mimic nature the most. And they're also going to grow really quick. So really fresh water, and also tons of different types of food and consistent feeding. You want them to always have their bellies full. But the reason, because I was just talking before, that is a 6-day schedule. I'm accounting for, otherwise you'll just bloat them. So I leave them for a day just to let them clear out their guts, and don't like completely, I don't know how you'd say it, just like don't completely fill them up with food, otherwise you'll have issues. Thanks, Bobby, for the, don't know. Thanks, bro. I do appreciate that. Here's a good, so how big are the baby neons that I bred? So I've got a ruler right here. They are getting very big. I should do like an update video on them. But see, I'll be honest, I'm still experimenting. I've got to make a fish room update or something like that. But I'm still breeding them, like experimenting and trying to get big yields, because I'm finding it so frustrating that I'm not breeding like 200 of them. And there are other people that are. So at the moment, I'd say they're like maybe almost 2 centimeters long. Like mini, they look like mini netras, neon tetras. So they are getting big. We're disconnecting. Okay. Yeah, they do look like little neon tetras, and they grow very, very quick, which is super cool. So I moved all my tanks into the garage. The wife didn't like it. See, I think that like the garage in Australia is like the equivalent of the basement in the States. When I like eventually, like if I end up building the house that I want to build when I'm like older, I'm definitely going to be putting a basement in, because I think like the basement is like the best spot to put a fish room, because it's already insulated by the ground, so it's just a little bit better. But like here in Australia, heaps of people just fill up their garage with fish tanks, so that's very, very common too. Problem in Florida, cichlids are super hard to find. All there is Africans and rams. If we're lucky, maybe Oscars. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I find that's like areas always have different demands and different supplies of fish. Like I was saying before, there's tons of rainbow fish in my area, like heaps. So how do you start feeding them when they first come out of the cave? Bristlenose, that is. So the exact same way you feed the adults, because if you leave the babies in there with the dad, normally they'll see the dad eat like a zucchini or something like that, and then they'll figure it out. You don't need to feed like a special food. These are very, very easy fish to raise and rear from when they're fry. And the reason is because the adult dad's already done all the work. They're already past the stage where they're very finicky. They come out and they're just little mini bristlenose, and they're not hard to kill. I mean, they're not easy to kill. So that's my like observations on it. Like I just feed the same way I'd feed to that dad, or so just feed like a ton of. I think that the best is probably like the algae wafers, because they're a bit easier for them to like suck on, but then after that, it's definitely the canned green beans are very good too. I built a room in my basement for my tank. It can get cold down there. So yeah, it can, but you also like a garage normally has tons of like that huge front aluminium sliding door, which doesn't hold heat very well, I don't think. So that's like, you don't have that in a basement. You have like all around you, you have like, have you seen Challenge the Wild? Yeah, I have. I don't know if he's been making videos. I used to watch him tons when I was like a couple of years ago, but I think he's like maybe a year younger than me or something like that. But I think I can't comment on it, like, because I don't know what he's doing. But I think that maybe it just got a bit hard for like, because when you're in grade 12 and like your like senior year of school, it does get very intense, and like maybe because he'd made so many videos before that year, it probably got a bit real if he was trying to do really well in school, and that's probably why he hasn't been uploading. Like, I think that he kind of, I don't know, it is disappointing. Like, I used to watch tons of his videos, but I don't think he's uploading as much anymore. Hey, I saw your videos about breeding neons, breeding other tetras. If yes, which species? So not yet, because the common problem on Keeping Fish Simple's channel is the fact that we don't have space. So yeah, I'll be breeding like glow lights and all that kind of cool stuff. But it's a very similar method. They all kind of breed the same way. Some need the peat in the aquarium for like having all the dirt and all that kind of stuff, but some don't. And there's obviously, I think the thing that's good about glow light tetras is that you can actually see the eggs, so you know that if a female is going to lay eggs or not. So it's a lot easier to pick out your pairs because you can actually see, like the same as when you have like a guppy, you can see like the like eyes of the babies in the female. You can actually see the eggs, which is really, really cool. So yeah. Your neon tetra breeding video got me curious, and I was able to breed white clouds today after. Really, the Infusoria is a pain though. That's a common thing. Infusoria are very annoying. I'm still trying to wear all the pain for you guys. I'm trying to experiment and find a food that works the same as Infusoria, that can fit in tiny fries' mouths, because it's a lot easier to feed like a powder than it is to feed Infusoria, because you don't have to culture it. And really, the difference at that age is like nothing. It's just like whether the fish are going to actually eat it or not, which is going to be the thing that can ruin a boss. I mean, ruin a boss. Ruin a clutch of your fry. Is that okay? So yeah, that's right. So Challenge the Wild. I think that his fish room flooded or something like that. That is do you have any tips on breeding orange Venezuela? I have a group of 7 that are reaching breeders. So, okay. So like, I haven't bred them, so I can't give you. I'm not going to be able to tell you what the answer is. But what I'd say is try and do as much information on finding out where they come from. So like everything, you want to find like substrate, you want to find like what kind of driftwood's around, you want to find the kind of plants and all that kind of stuff, and mimic nature. You want to create, I don't know. I've watched a bunch of Eric Bodrock's speeches lately, and he always says to be the fish, and I completely agree with that. So just try and sit there and imagine what that fish is like going through when they're breeding. So like, for instance, some people don't have like dither fish around, and normally your tetras and stuff like that are really good dither fish, and not for the sake of just getting beaten up by a fish. That's what normally people think would. No, what you're looking for is that in the wild, when those fish are around, they're used to having these fish above them, and what it means is that there's no predators around. So if there's no fish swimming above them, they think that there's predators, and if a fish isn't comfortable, the last thing that's on its mind is breeding. So that's my advice. Try and really like mimic that nature environment, and they'll start to breed. You just need to find out what that trigger is. So hopefully that helps you a lot. What inspired me to start YouTube? So what inspired me to start is, I don't know, like I just think that I just was making videos. I don't really know what, like, I didn't have like a moment in time where I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing this. And like, I just kind of consistently have made videos and tried to help out people. And that's kind of how I think I've said before, like it just kind of, it's weird. It's not like a moment in time where you're like, oh, I'm going to start doing this. It's just, it kind of just happened. I think the more exotic cories, like specific water parameters, they come from soft water. So yeah, you want like the really exotic ones come from normally very soft water, like very, very soft. And they also come from like, a lot of people put like, you need like a light sand on the like as a substrate for them to breed, like the really hard to breed ones, because they don't come from dark substrate areas, and that could help as well. But yeah. My Pisto female died unexpectedly one morning. Everything was perfect though. Any ideas why? I can't tell you. That sucks, but yeah, it's hard to know. Like sometimes it could be something that's like out of your control. Sometimes it's just a bad fish. Sometimes they got caught behind a decoration that you had no clue. Sometimes they ate something and they got clogged up. It's hard to know. Someone seen the speech that I get all my quotes from? Yes. I don't get all my quotes from there, but I did get a lot of knowledge and try to pick up some of that Eric's experiences from that speech, and it's sunk in my head for this week. I've been trying to really think about it. We've got Challenge the Wild here. I used to watch your videos ages ago, man. You need to start uploading again, because I used to watch all of them. Yeah, so that was like the video that I watched and I got all those quotes from. So yeah, even fish know it's all good. They don't stress because instead of constantly looking for threats, they see the other fish and think that it's all chill and safe. That's correct. So the ditherfish, the only point of having the ditherfish around is that they just let the fish know, like in the wild, they just let like I was saying before, it's just like a completely natural instinct for them to know that it's safe. There's a big motorbike ripping off there. That it's safe when there's other fish swimming above them. So yeah, you've been so busy, but thanks for all the support. Yeah, no, I can understand. So I think, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're like the same age as me, and like I can completely understand that. Like college over there is pretty similar. It's like way more different than university here. I think the schedules and all that kind of stuff, but it is definitely true that it does get very busy. And yes, some like tons of YouTube videos take a lot of preparing, and completely understand why it'd be hard to consistently upload. And the weird thing about YouTube too is like, I don't like this about YouTube, but like it does promote a lot of creative burnout sometimes. And I'm not saying that Challenge the Wild's burned out or anything, but it's just like it's like if you want to take a break, they do really like kind of punish you for it. So like if you take time off, because there was like, I know for a fact that there was like a couple of months where Challenge the Wild didn't post, and YouTube would just slam your algorithm for that. So like they don't promote new videos to subscribers and all that kind of stuff. So it is very annoying, and I'm not trying to like say that it's bad, because all YouTube's goal is just try and make money, and the way they make money is get views. And if the YouTube algorithm doesn't think that a video is going to get views and it won't promote, it's like a video. It's just like sometimes it could be as simple as like you didn't upload, and it's annoying, but that's just the way it is. And I can completely empathize for if you like upload something and it doesn't get like the reaction you want, then it is like a little bit discouraging. So yeah, I can completely understand it, but I would love to see your videos again, because they were, I mean, I used to love them a lot. I used to watch heaps of them. That's really, Will you keep breeding and selling for the long term, or do you want to work in the business or just as a casual hobby? Ever thought about breeding a true moneymaker like European eel for sushi? No. Okay, so yeah, this is a weird thing. So like, I don't try and think about things super far in advance. I try and think about like maybe the next couple of years, and I definitely, for the most part, am planning on doing bigger projects, hopefully to turn this more into like I'd say career, like a business that's gonna, support me and what I'm trying to do. Like I don't know. I don't think that I'd be able to start a shop as per se. I don't think that I'd be it's not like I'm not disciplined enough. It's just running a retail store is very tricky. So I don't think that I could be able to do that, but maybe some other kind of project I would be able to do. So yeah. Yeah, that's totally true. It is hard to come back when you've taken a long break. So that is, yeah, it's just a known fact that like heaps of YouTubers will say it. Like it is a fact that you can't keep, like, if you take a break, they punish you for it. Is pretty much like that. So yeah, I thought about it, but so opening up a store is tricky because you've got to sell to like, you need like 1,000 probably customers just to keep your doors open that come and consistently buy. And I'm not saying like it's impossible, because obviously people are doing it. And then the other thing that's tricky is this is very tricky, like a physical retail store. And you're also now, like I was talking about this last week, but you're competing with Amazon now. And so a lot of the time stores don't make a ton of money off of actual live product. They make a lot of the money off of your like dechlorinator, food and stuff like that. And now because we're competing with Amazon, it's like there's a certain price that we're willing to forward to the store and scan an item and find out what it costs on Amazon now. So back in the day, people used to be able to just like mark up a product like and falsely do it. Like they'd be able to take a dechlorinator for like $13 and sell it for 25 and make that profit. But now they're not really able to do that because people just come in and compare the price. So it is very tricky. Like maybe at some point down the line I will do a store, but yeah, I don't know. Good to see you though, Challenge the Wild. Thank you for joining in. That's really cool. Not fish related, but do you still restore phones? Yeah, I was actually kind of like hoping someone would ask this because I was in the middle of doing a restoration, and this is super, like, we're still going to talk about fish after this, but I was actually something like that. It is an iPhone 7, so yeah, I still do it like very casually, not as much as I used to, but yeah. It sucks how clickbaity YouTubers most of the time get so many subs. So I don't know. I don't think it does suck, like as per se, because I mean, who am I to tell you how to play the game of YouTube? Like it's not my decision. And if the algorithm is gonna promote like those kinds of videos, then it's fair game. But like, yeah, I think that some of those channels, they can lose attention really quick, and it's about like those channels have a lot of really young, a certain type of video that young kids like, just as a general thing. My audience is about normally 35 to 40. And I think that a lot of those channels you'd see that have a lot of young kids. And the problem with that is that young kids grow up and they lose interest. So for instance, what can happen is we'll have someone have a really young audience. They'll make content and be super, get like tons of views, but then in 3 years' time, they need to be able to transform their content to fit a new audience, like either because that audience that they're originally serving grew up and they're not interested in it anymore, or they have to meet the new young kid audience, like the new kids that they were entertaining. It's complicated. Well, it's not really complicated, but like I hope you guys can kind of try and understand what I'm saying. Some of those that I see them more as like grenade channels, like they blow up and then they kind of just disappear. And like, I mean, how many times can you make like a video, I don't know, catching like a paku out of a river? It's like, I mean, we've already, like, people have already seen it. Like, now it's old. I don't know. That's just my opinion. So I don't really focus too much on like numbers, and I don't think anyone making content should, because I don't know. That's not like the intention of making the content. I try and make content to make you guys learn about fish breeding and keeping fish easily. So yeah. No, I'm just wearing a golf jumper. No, it's not fancy. I'm literally wearing a t-shirt and a golf jumper. Know why people think this is fancy? It's because this microphone's, there we go. Yeah. Tons of people talking about things. I'm not wearing a suit and tie, guys. I'm wearing it's literally it's a golf jumper. I'm still trying to talk about fish, but I don't know. Someone's talking about Stampy. He was like a Minecraft YouTuber, and eventually those kids grew up and he gets no views. So like, yeah, it is sad because like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a good example of that. It's like, I don't know, like, I feel like maybe I could be wrong here, but like Captain Sparkles and stuff like that, who were huge back when I was like 12, kind of like don't get views anymore. Like, well, like they get views, but just not the same. So yeah, like, I bought a pair of rams for breeding. Do you have any tips on breeding them? So from what I've learned, I haven't actually bred them before, and I'm obviously looking to. But you gotta, I think they do breed monogamous. Sometimes just put a male and a female in a tank and then give them the right environment, like, and then they'll start to breed. But I think the best way is to buy like 12 or 10, put them in a tank, let them grow up and wait for them to start breeding. And when they start breeding, pick out the pairs that look the best that you want to breed. And that's the best way to get a pair. Because once they start pairing off, then you can be certain in getting eggs, and then you can start to adjust like all the pH and all that kind of stuff if you want to try and get bigger spawns and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, good clean water. Someone's commenting, good clean water, hiding spots are really beneficial too. And yeah. When I said that, it's just sad how people do no effort in their videos and they blow up, and you make good quality content but don't get more people watching your videos. See, like I get like way more views, and you guys like coming and watching my videos is just like amazing. Like, I'm completely surprised that even this many people will come and watch my videos. So like, for me, that's what I was saying. It's like just literally not about that. And I hope you guys can see like the transparency in that. Like, I mean, who wouldn't want to have like 100,000 subscribers or something like that? But it's going to happen like in its own time. And it's just, for me, I'm just focusing on trying to help as many people as possible. And the best way to do it is through YouTube. It's super easy. Or you guys can watch your video, like with the videos I make, whenever you want, and get the advice whenever you need it. And it's free for me to make the videos at this point. Like, it's just my time now. And yeah, so that's just my opinion. Like, I don't think that I'm the kind of personality that unboxing like $2,100 fish. Like, I hope that people realize that the videos that I made like a couple of weeks ago, like where I was selling angelfish and stuff like that, they're not trying to be those big YouTube channels. That's not the intention of the video. They're just like kind of trying to show you behind the scenes of what I'm doing in a weird way. I'm not trying to like clickbait you. I just want everyone to understand that that's not what I'm here for. Do you know how to breed black skirt tetras by any chance? So I think it's pretty similar, the same method to the neon tetras, I'd say. That's what I'd do. But I haven't bred them yet. So I don't know. Okay, this is a good question. I really like this one because this relates to the video that I made. This relates to the video that I made today. So can you advise water quality kits or a complete setup which is not expensive? So literally just watch the 7 tips for stability that I made today for tank stability. That'll help you a lot, because I was saying I run eBay lights and sponge filters, and most of the time I have real good consistency. And the reasons for it is because I'm trying to focus on culturing those bacteria. So keep it consistent, and I guess like you don't need a lot of equipment. You can just get away with like what I've got. I mean, sponge filter's like $10 with the pump, and then like a light's like 20, like, and then the tank. So don't get like a huge $500 filter. You'll just waste your money. You can get the same success with what I've got. So yeah. How challenging is it to breed Cichlids? There are very few videos on YouTube or anywhere how to breed wild caught, which makes them very sensitive. So they are challenging to breed. I think I can't really comment on it because I haven't really looked into it. I don't like the Cichlids that much because of how hard they are to actually keep, because they're all wild caught. So yeah, I don't know. Wait, one sec. I want to hear a new breeding project I've been working on. Picked up some blue dream neocaridina shrimp. Gonna get a nice colony going. Keep you updated. Yeah, definitely do, because that's a really good one to breed for profit too, because obviously they're a high ticket shrimp, and if you can breed them, then you make money. When is the video on hatching a pisto eggs coming out? So yeah, I think like before Wednesday. Like I was saying, it's just there was a big challenge with I've just been struggling to hatch eggs lately because of how cold it's getting and all that kind of stuff. So it's coming. I do a batch, and in the video that's going to be like me trying to hatch the first batch, and you'll see what it looked like. They didn't hatch, and so I got the second batch and I hatched them, and now it's working. Do you plan to keep more species in your store? The ones I bought from you turned up really healthy, so I'd rather buy future ones from you. Yeah, like that's really good that they turned up good. I'm super happy about that. So I tried to pick out, I know that for your order, I tried to pick out a really big one that had heaps of, because you ordered like an Anubias, so I wanted you to cut it up and make a ton. I think it's hard because like at the moment, a lot of wholesalers don't want to sell to someone with 8 tanks. They want to sell to someone with 800. And that's because they don't want you undercutting a pet store. So my range is very limited, but I'd like to get a lot more. Any tips for growing Java moss quickly? That's a good question again. That is not an easy task. You need a lot of tanks, and you need a lot of different batches of Java moss, because it just takes so long to grow. That's a common thing. Everyone always wants to be selling Java moss, and it takes a long time to grow. Maybe a lot of it's taken out of the wild. I'm not too sure, because I don't know how they make such large quantities of it. It takes so long to grow. Are you planning on building a fish room? So yeah, okay, I'm not going to hide it. So yeah, obviously I'm trying to plan out a fish room. It's just not straightforward, and I can't tell you everything because, like I said at the start of the stream, which a lot of people here probably didn't see, the plan is either it doesn't go ahead and then it's just embarrassing, or plans change. So I'd rather tell you when I know what's happening. We've got another. There we go. We're back. What's your biggest advice on keeping apistos? At the moment, it's keeping them in a planted aquarium, and the other one's using rainwater. But you don't need to do that. I use rainwater for the tank because I want to keep it like I get more eggs that way. That's my advice. So yeah. But yeah, I found that like the rainwater they like I was saying at the start of the stream, it was about 25 to 30 eggs I was getting, or something like that. It was a really low number. And then I started using rainwater. We got like 110 eggs and like 85 fry, which is nuts. So yeah. Frog bit, man. That's strange because normally it's not that hard to grow. I don't know what it could be. Maybe it's maybe you got too much light or something like that. I don't know. But yeah. I'm moving to the States one day. Probably not for a long time. I don't know. Probably staying in Australia. I can move to the States because I'm a dual citizen, but like, I mean, not in the next couple of years. Probably, I don't know if I'll be making fish videos by the time if I move to the States. So yeah. I just bought a really expensive pair of Apistogramma. What is your tank setup? So my tank setup is literally the eBay light, a sponge filter, a substrate, and a substrate. It's just play sand from the hardware store. Tons of Java fern, a little bit of Java moss, some bacopa, driftwood, and 2 coconut caves, and just really heavily planted so they can go and hide. And I feed them lots of bloodworms, and I should probably tone it down on the bloodworms, but they're very fussy and they like them a lot. So bloodworms, some spirulina flakes, some tropical flakes from time to time, and live blackworms, and occasionally mysis shrimp. So that's the way I do it. It's not like, they're not hard fish to take care of. It's just that price is that's what puts a lot of people off, is they are expensive. One thing you'll find is, like, if you keep fish for a long time, like if you start to buy expensive fish, your perception on what an expensive fish will change. So like when I first started keeping fish, I thought that like it becomes like, it's a weird thing. Like, I'm not trying to like sound like I shouldn't be spending this much money on fish, but like, so the first time I bought Apistogrammas, they were like $50 each, and I thought that was like crazy because I was used to just buying like $10 guppies, and still that was expensive. So, but then I bought like the L number plecos, and they were like $600 for both groups, or like both groups cost me about that. And that, my voice is getting very tired. I don't know how many more questions we're going to answer, because man, I still got to clean the tanks and all that kind of stuff today. So if you guys have any more questions, just start them in, because otherwise I'll probably hop off until next weekend. But yeah, so this week I'll probably be doing a fish room update, and I'll also be releasing I don't like using the word releasing, it sounds so like weird, but I'll be doing a video on the hatching the eggs video. And what else will I be doing? Probably like another 7 tips video. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see. When I first got into the hobby, I thought a $4 guppy was expensive. Yeah, that's the same for me too. It's like, it's always. How long till I put fish in a new tank? I've washed a sponge filter into it, added quick start and chlorinated. So yeah, I was talking about this later. Like, I was talking about this earlier on in the stream. Just I don't know. You've got to add something that's going to cause ammonia. It doesn't have to be complicated. I can't tell you when. Like, you've got to do your own testing and figure out how much ammonia and stuff's in the water presently, and you need to know that there's like there's bacteria in there that are going to be dealing with the problems that you're going to face when you add fish to the tank. So it's not as simple as saying like, okay, you can add them in a week. What I was recommending at the start of the stream was to add like a prawn, like a raw one, let it rot at the bottom of the aquarium, because it's going to create ammonia, and then it's going to keep those bacteria alive, and then you can take it out before you add the fish. Like, leave it in there for like a couple of weeks or a week, whatever, and then take it out before you add the fish, and maybe that'll help. But yeah, so I'm going to do another stream next weekend, probably it'll be on Sunday. I'm trying to find a consistent time. It's been hard because the best way for me to keep it consistent is just these variable times. I'm trying to make it a certain time. I can't tell you today though, but it'll be next Sunday. I'll do another stream, and it'll either be, I can tell you for a fact, it'll either be at 12 p.m. or like 10 a.m. or 6 p.m. Those are the only times I really try and do them, because the other times in the day are a bit weird. So yeah, but all right, I probably ended up here because I'm getting really, really tired. My I don't know what it is. Your sinuses get a bit weird after talking for a long time. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for watching this. I do appreciate it, like heaps. Like, I'm so surprised people, like 25 people come and watch these. It's crazy. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming out today. Thanks for the donation, Brad. And I'll see you guys, I guess, next Sunday live, but I'll post a couple of videos this week. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. But yeah. Okay, really quick. That's going to delay it. I'll give you like 2 minutes to ask a quick question. If anyone needs to ask a question, I'll try and answer them really quick. Just quickly. I don't know. It's a bit weird we're holding up for someone to ask a question, but yeah. Thank you everyone for yeah, that's a good thing. I was so surprised to see Challenge the World join. I don't know. He was subscribed. That's pretty cool. Because yeah, I remember watching him from ages ago. I just wish he was making videos still. All right, I'm probably gonna end it here. All right, guys. Yeah, I'll see you guys next weekend. See ya.